Stop. Mallet time. Hello everybody, welcome back to Fanblade. I'm going to carve out some pickup cavities. I've got the chisels beautifully sharp. These are as sharp as they've ever been, just about. Accuracy for pickup cavities isn't really critical. It's not nearly as critical as the neck pocket, which has to be perfect. We've got pickup surrounds around the outside of the pickups, and that'll kind of hide any little defects, but of course we want to be as accurate as possible, so I will be scoring the line around where I've marked, just to get that nice crisp edge. I am considering the possibility that I might, like where the ears of the pickups stick out, I might just cut that corner, just to make it easier to hog out with a chisel. I may even go in with a forstner bit first, just to get the depth right, although when you've chiseled around the edge you just plough through the centre anyway, and it doesn't really take that much time. Okay, I've made a decision. Because all of this grain is just going in such weird ways, it's going to be a lot easier and safer for me to actually hog that out with a forstner bit, and then just clean it up with the chisels afterwards. Trying to cut the grain down there is extremely hard, but if you switch your angle around just a little bit, come in there, it just chips straight out. So that's kind of gonna, you can do it if you go carefully, but the chances of me pushing hard there and then pushing the same hardness there and just ripping a huge chunk out of the side. See, I've splintered that edge. See what I mean? Forstner bit it is. I'm gonna do all of the outlines on both of these bodies. I'm going to treat the base a little bit differently because it's totally different wood, so we'll see what we get with that when we get to it. But for now, outline the rest of these and then over to the drill press. And we've already hit a problem. This grain's just all over the place, and it's just lifted that little chunk out there. Yeah, this is going to be really problematic to carve out because it's just, the grain's just so twisty it goes everywhere. I'm going to have to glue that bit down. And then I think we will forego too much more chiseling on this, and we'll just go straight for the forstner bit, clear that area, and that way hopefully when I do clean it up with the chisels, there'll be less pressure on this side because the wood will just break off on this side. Yeah, that's the sort of thing you never want to see, but it's good that we got it early rather than breaking off a massive chunk that I couldn't glue down. That should be able to be glued down. And if there is a visible glue line, it should just match in with the visible grain line that's on this side already. So hopefully we get away with this one. looking at this now, with the benefit of a fresh set of eyes, I think that pickup's a bit sideways. So I'm going to re-mark out, or at the very least I'm going to measure the angles on that one, and when I score the lines, I'll score them in the right place. But nonetheless, we shall proceed. This wood grain's less twisty than the other one. It sort of doesn't get twisty until down here, but that's alright, I don't have to carve that out. So hopefully we should be able to proceed as planned. There we go. No routers were harmed in the making of that pickup cavity. And more importantly, no fingers were harmed by routers in the making of this pickup cavity. Result, look at that. And I've got, what have I got? I've got 5 more to do. So that's my afternoon. But I've just noticed exactly the same thing here has happened as on the last body. It's not quite so noticeable, and even I didn't notice it at first. That splinter there has raised up, so we'll glue that back down, but there's another couple of cracks just through here. They're very, very small, but again, it's just that wood is on such weird angles that yeah, the grain's just splitting in weird ways. Okay, we'll glue that down and set it aside with the other one. Right, and there is a perfect fit. Bit of room for it to move around, bit of room for adjustment, but not all that much room for wiggle. I think that's a done deal. Right, repeat. And this one. Now, if I'm honest, every single time I approach this piece of wood to do something to it, I'm gripped with, I would hope, a healthy fear that I'm going to screw this up. I think I'll change my blade. That's a really good start. What I'm finding is some really, really weird things with the grain. I mean, the grain on this was always going to be a nightmare anyway. But yeah, it's coming and going, and then it's splitting off into the fourth dimension, and I'm having to deal with it from two sides on a book-matched piece. So in a very real sense, I'm working in 16 dimensions here. But regardless of any of that, it's forstner bit time. Well, they are quite shallow pickups, so I've put shallow cavities in. At the moment they are sitting on top of the wires that are coiled up underneath, but they will no doubt drop down a bit, and then I'll put some foam underneath them. Right, that's 3 for 3. Let's line them all up and look at them. They look a lot more like guitars than they did at the start of this series. Tomorrow we'll do the control cavities, and then we'll start sanding them. If we can get a lot of the sanding done tomorrow, then we can start finishing them as well. It's the home stretch, people. Thank you very much for sticking with me this far. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I'll see you tomorrow.